Remember back when we were 16, playing video games and thinking life would be totally different when we grow up. By 25, we'd have a girlfriend, maybe even be married, and pushing 30, we'd have a bunch of kids running around. Well, reality slapped me in the face. I'm 27 now, and let me tell you, I don't have a girlfriend, no wife, and definitely no kids. But by the looks of it, I'm not alone in this mess. Research suggests a staggering 60% of American men aged 18 to 29 are single. This is in stark contrast to women who at the same age range are single at a rate of only 34%. Now, among the 60%, there is likely a proportion who genuinely want to be alone or in no strings attached situations. Fair enough to them, but like me and many others, the idea of being with someone and fostering a future is something we no doubt want. But why is it so difficult? Well, as much as I'd like to sit here and tell you about my dating perils and how if it wasn't for feminism we would be living in a utopia, I think there is a bigger issue at hand. As a consequence of lockdowns and the general direction of technology underpinning every aspect of our lives, young people like a moth to a flame jumped on the dating apps bandwagon, ensuing a dramatic rise in their use due to ease and simplicity. And in 2023, it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. I don't need to tell you, but generally young men don't do very well on dating apps. A study on Hinge which sought to visualise the economy of the app in terms of likes received as a currency placed Hinge having more wealth inequality than 93.5% of countries in the world. In other words, the bottom 50% of men combined, which represents 1/3 of the total Hinge users, only receive 1% of the total like. Which pretty much goes to show how much of a waste of time dating apps can be for men who don't meet certain expectations. But before we blame women for picking only the top 20% of men and how dating apps are perpetuating hypergamy, it makes sense as to why men suffer on these apps. Fact of the matter is, the percentage of men using dating apps far outweighs women. And because of that, women are in the driving seat on who gets to be the winners. And it's also worth mentioning, it is in the interest of women to be picky. It's not far-fetched to say, but men can easily get carried away. And the question of safety does come into the question. Therefore, women naturally vet men aiming to secure the best male. We may like it or not, but the marketisation of dating, which inherently favours women, is going to continue to decimate many young men's hopes, self-esteem and how they perceive dating as a whole. And as a result, with every rejection and disappointment, men are going to seek to fill the hole left over in other ways. And this is where social media and explicit material take centre stage. Once a young man has been derailed of all hope in finding someone whether through real life or dating apps, they open the front door to the copious amounts of explicit material, which will gladly devour their lives and leave them hooked and emotionless. And with the rise of OnlyFans, no longer is corn some Hollywood movie style video. Content creators now offer a means of contacting them and simulating real life connection, all for a cost of course. And as a result, this substitution of the pursuit of finding a woman in return for easy access content does enough to keep the young man docile and away from the chase of attaining an authentic connection where you don't have to pay a dime. My final point, which may be the most important yet, is that as it stands, young men are suffering because they're lacking. Due to a sheer lack of neglect and avoidance to support young boys and young men, there's been a divide in the trajectory of young men and young females. While girls are going to university at a rate not seen before and having the feeling of the world behind them, boys are being led to isolation and subsequently desolation. As a result of going to university and attaining high-paying jobs, young females don't need a beat-ass man to provide for them anymore when they can do it themselves. And if she can't find a man in a similar age to her who meets the level that she believes that she deserves in terms of attractiveness, wealth and emotional intelligence, young females will gladly look to dating older men who have all those things taken care of. And what happens when a group of people, i.e. young men, are in need of support but no one seems to help because society is too busy pushing a certain narrative? Well, a whole industry of so-called self-help gurus, alpha males and chads start selling truth serums, otherwise known as courses, and guidance in an attempt to fill the gap. And while being told to work out, be stoic and focus on self-development is a good thing, for many young men they have been conditioned so deeply that riding themselves out of self-defeating attitudes can be difficult, and polarising self-help gurus may not penetrate the surface like they do with others. Therefore, if we want to support young men, we need to be there for them from the beginning. Fathers need to be present in their lives, male teachers need to be in schools, masculinity shouldn't be seen as a bad thing, and teaching styles should be adapted to focus on how boys learn. This may even mean bringing back boys-only schools because we cannot allow boys to be put behind at such a rate in comparison to girls, especially in such important stages in their lives. Now, for young males who are now adults, primary and secondary socialisation has been complete, but all is not lost. Self-actualisation is key. Reject corn, reject brain-dead content and embrace levelling up, the mental and the physical. Understand that there has been a shift in how the world works and that technology has a greater role. But we don't have to become slaves to it. Dating apps don't have to give you value. Likes on Instagram don't give you value. The only value you have is the one that you give to yourself. And once you see the value in yourself, others will too. It's hard out there and it's only going to get harder. And without vigilance, it's easy to get lost. I try to tell myself every day, but I often fall. But ultimately, it's all about getting up and trying again. To sum it up, and I want to make it clear, generally speaking, and there are exceptions on both genders, as it stands, young females and young males are not on the same level. Females have been exceeding men through increased support as a result of feminism, which is in no way a bad thing. Issue is, while there's been a focus on girls, there has been a substantial failure to attend to the needs of boys. At a primary level, there is a lack of fatherly support, and through the school system, which has a teaching style which inherently benefits girls, plus a deficit of male teachers, boys are left to fend for themselves. As a result, females are going from strength to strength while some males are being completely forgotten about. This imbalance reaches adulthood and females grow out of their counterparts and their expectations are no longer met. In turn, older men step in where young men left off. For this to change, young men are forced to level themselves up so they can compete at the same level. Whether it's through self-help gurus or taking it on themselves through their own learning, they will have to grow physically, mentally and financially to meet inflated expectations. To prevent a crisis which is currently in its emerging stage, society really needs to change certain attitudes and accept this imbalance isn't a good thing, especially for young men who are suffering at the cost of their own mental health and belief in themselves. Hopefully change happens soon, as without it we run the risk of ruining the future of boys and creating monsters we really don't want. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos. It really means a lot to me too. And if you can, do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks again. Good night.